Why is it that some women can command a room, speak with unwavering confidence, and seem completely untouchable, yet secretly live in terror of the one thing most people crave: silence? You've met her. Maybe you are her. The woman who fills every pause with words, who turns uncomfortable silences into rapid-fire conversations, who seems to have an opinion about everything and never stops sharing it. From the outside, she appears cold, calculating, maybe even a little intimidating. But here's what most people don't see. Beneath that armor of constant communication lies a fear so deep it shapes every interaction she has. She's not afraid of being alone. She's afraid of being alone with silence. Think about it. When was the last time you watched someone truly comfortable with quiet moments? Someone who could sit in a room without reaching for their phone, without turning on music, without starting a conversation just to fill the void? It's rare, isn't it? But for her, silence isn't just uncomfortable. It's terrifying. Why? Because silence forces her to confront the thoughts she's been running from her entire life. In those quiet moments, when there's nothing to distract her busy mind, all the doubts she's carefully buried start to surface. The voice that whispers she's not good enough. The fear that people only tolerate her because she's useful, entertaining, or filling a need. The worry that if she stops performing, stops being the one with all the answers, people will see who she really is underneath and walk away. So she talks, she jokes, she analyzes, she gives advice, she creates noise because noise drowns out the internal dialogue she's not ready to face. But here's the cruel irony. The very behavior she uses to protect herself is often what pushes people away. Her constant chatter can feel overwhelming. Her refusal to sit with uncomfortable emotions can make her seem emotionally unavailable. Her need to fill every silence with her voice can leave others feeling unheard, unseen. The woman who fears silence the most often appears the coldest because she's working so hard to avoid vulnerability that she's forgotten how to be truly present with another person. Let's dig deeper into where this fear comes from, because understanding the root is the first step toward healing. Many women who fear silence learned early that their value was tied to their productivity, their helpfulness, their ability to anticipate and meet other people's needs. Maybe she grew up in a household where quiet meant something was wrong, where the absence of conversation signaled conflict, disappointment, or emotional distance. Or perhaps she learned that when things got quiet, that's when the criticism came, when the uncomfortable truths were spoken, when people left. So her young mind created a simple equation. Noise equals safety, silence equals danger. Think about the messages she might have received growing up. Good girls are helpful, smart girls have opinions, valuable girls solve problems, loved girls make others feel comfortable. Somewhere along the way, she internalized the belief that her worth was directly proportional to how much she contributed to every moment, every conversation, every relationship. And so she became the fixer, the entertainer, the one who always has something to say, the one who never lets an awkward moment linger because awkward moments might lead to rejection. But what happens when someone lives their entire life avoiding silence? They never learn that they can survive it. They never discover that quiet moments aren't empty spaces that need to be filled, but opportunities for genuine connection, deep thought, and authentic self-reflection. She never learns that sometimes the most profound conversations happen in the spaces between words, that sometimes people need silence to process, to feel, to simply be present with their emotions without immediately jumping to solutions or distractions. The woman who fears silence often struggles with intimacy because real intimacy requires the ability to be comfortable with discomfort, to sit with another person's pain without immediately trying to fix it, to allow natural pauses in conversation without panicking that something's wrong. Her relationships become performances rather than connections. She's so busy managing the emotional temperature of every interaction that she never allows herself to simply exist within it. And here's what's particularly heartbreaking. The very silence she fears might be exactly what she needs to heal, because in those quiet moments she's been avoiding, she might discover that the thoughts she's running from aren't as dangerous as she believed. The voice that tells her she's not enough might lose its power when she finally stops running and faces it directly. She might realize that the people who truly care about her don't need her to be constantly entertaining, constantly helpful, constantly on. They love her, not for what she does, but for who she is when she stops performing. But getting there requires courage. The courage to sit with discomfort without immediately rushing to eliminate it. The courage to trust that relationships can survive moments of quiet, that connection doesn't require constant conversation. If you recognize yourself in this description, understand that your fear of silence isn't a character flaw. It's a survival mechanism that once served you, but may now be limiting your ability to form the deep, authentic connections you're actually craving. The path forward starts small. Begin by noticing your relationship with quiet moments. When you're alone, can you sit without immediately reaching for stimulation? When you're with others, can you allow natural pauses without jumping in to fill them? Practice what I call conscious silence. Instead of viewing quiet moments as problems to be solved, try viewing them as opportunities. Opportunities to listen more deeply, to notice what you're feeling, to give others space to share what's really on their minds. Start by spending just 5 minutes a day in intentional silence. No phone, no music, no distractions. Just you and your thoughts. It might feel uncomfortable at first. That's normal. The goal isn't to enjoy it immediately, but to prove to yourself that you can survive it. When you're in conversation with others, experiment with pausing before you speak. Ask yourself, am I about to say this because it adds value or because I'm uncomfortable with the silence? Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is give someone space to find their own words. Learn to differentiate between productive silence and avoidant silence. Productive silence creates space for reflection, connection, and authentic expression. Avoidant silence is used as punishment or withdrawal. The woman who fears silence often can't tell the difference because she's learned to view all quiet moments as threatening. Remember that healing your relationship with silence isn't about becoming a quiet person if that's not who you are. It's about developing the confidence to know that your worth isn't dependent on constantly proving it through words and actions. It's about trusting that real connection can happen in the spaces between conversations, that love doesn't require constant performance, and that the thoughts you've been running from might not be as powerful as the woman you become when you finally stop running. The woman who learns to embrace silence doesn't become cold or distant. She becomes present. She becomes genuine. She becomes someone who can offer both words and quiet, and both solutions and simple companionship, both conversation and the rare gift of comfortable silence. Your fear of silence has been protecting you, but it's also been limiting you. When you're ready to face what's waiting in those quiet moments, you might discover that the very thing you've been afraid of is actually the key to the authentic connections you've been seeking all along. The silence isn't empty, it's full of possibility.